The only way to truly become 10 out of 10 attractive is to appeal to a specific girl's type or archetype. And the thing is, you're never gonna hear anybody else in the looksmaxxing space actually tell you this, because most of them are quite low IQ and have no experience, but you can actually become 10 out of 10. It just, you can never be a 10 out of 10 for every single girl though. So there's two strategies that guys can adopt. They can either go the generic route, in which they essentially just, go to the gym, get the haircut everybody gets, and do all of the different looks maxes to try to appeal to as many girls as possible. And sure, they might increase in 1 point, maybe 2 points, maybe 3 points if the transformation is super drastic, either through hard measures or like a big weight loss kind of thing. But at the end of the day, the only way to increase up to 4 points and to get to a 10 out of 10 is to match a girl's specific fantasy. Now, there are multiple female fantasies. I think you've all heard Jordan Peterson talk about how, there's the vampire, there's the werewolf, there's the pirate, there's all these different archetypes, which they all have something in common. They all have some kind of like primal, uncaring, dark triad adjacent type of a vibe to them. But this video isn't about personality maxing anyways. Maybe I'll cover that in future videos. The point is that the more you go towards an archetype, the more you niche down, the more you're gonna reduce your appeal for the majority of girls, but the more attraction you're gonna get from the specific niche of girls that you are targeting. And choosing your niche will really depend on the kind of girl that you want to attract. But it's not just about the girl. It's also about what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, right? What can you pull off? Like, if you have the genetics to have an insane physique, like to basically become an ogre, there's a niche for that. Some girls are really into the hyper-masculine archetype. If you can pull it off, if you got not only insane muscle building genetics, but you also got the really masculinized face, super square jaw and the exaggerated brow ridge and everything, then go for it. Some guys, that's what taking steroids is, by the way. I'm personally against it for multiple different reasons: health, longevity, skin quality, hair, just multiple reasons why I would never do steroids, because it goes against my own archetype. It would completely destroy, minimize aesthetic aspects of myself, whereas for other people, they don't really care about those things as much, so they'll roid max, Whereas for my archetype, just having a good physique naturally is enough. Some guys, they might lean more into the pretty boy. Some guys, they might lean more into getting certain types of tattoos. Maybe you want to look more like a rock star. There are millions of different archetypes that you can sort of experiment with and see what you fit in. But the point is that girls really like to identify who you are. While you are narrowing down for a certain archetype, you should also take care of other variables as much as possible. So even if you are trying to be a pretty boy, having a good physique, the better your physique gets, even naturally, the more appeal you're gonna have regardless. There's no excuse to remain a twink, even if you're pretty boy maxing, because you're never gonna get too big naturally, right? So like, obviously, I'm never gonna win Mr. Olympia. I'm never gonna be a fitness model, but that's enough to sort of halo the appeal of my other features, So at the end of the day, while you do want to niche down, don't forget the basics, Having good skin, having a good physique, having good hair. Like, I don't think bald is an archetype that you really want to fall into. Every guy looks better with hair. Unless you have no choice and like you lost your hair and it's irreversible because you didn't prevent it soon enough, then you're kind of forced to do it. Like if I lost my hair, I'd just take steroids. At that point, I would just go full into taking a bunch of roids to make up for it, to like carve myself a new identity. I wouldn't care about longevity. I wouldn't care about skin quality as much. I would just go full ogre if I lost my hair, because I'd look terrible bald anyway. So if I'm gonna look terrible, at least I'm gonna compensate with something else. And that's why I find it really funny how people criticize short guys for overcompensating. You know, I find that hilarious because it's like, what else are they supposed to do? Like curl up in a ball and die? Just shoot themselves? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, the only thing you can do is compensate for your flaws if you want to improve. You know, like, what else is there to do? It's almost like self-improvement from the eyes of normies is something that is reserved to the already genetically gifted, you know? It's like, if you have everything, more will be given to you. If you have nothing, everything will be taken from you anyways, you know? It's kind of how human nature works. The Bible talks about this. It's common wisdom at this point. It's like, if you start from the bottom, nobody's rooting for you. And when you get to the top, when you get to ascend in multiple areas of life, whether it's your looks, whether it's freedom, whether it's relationships, all of a sudden people randomly show up in your life. I knew you could do it. No, you didn't. You didn't know shit. You didn't even want me to succeed, so fuck you. Your hair is gonna be the biggest factor when it comes to choosing your archetype, right? Because you can style it a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different lengths you can try. Personally, I think every guy should try long hair. Every single guy I've seen always looks better with long hair. But if that's not your personality, if that's not really how you see your ideal self, then that's fine. Just find another style. But the point is, it has to reflect your individuality, but your strong individuality, right? Like a version of the individual that you are that is much more superior, right? Long story short, it should be archetype maxing. That's the thing about style as well. It's not just about throwing a bunch of different clothes that kind of look good, just a bunch of different outfits that you try. No, the style should complement the identity that you are crafting. The style should complement the archetype that you are fulfilling, right? Just try a bunch of different things, man. Honestly. Even when it comes to your physique, bear mode is a thing. Like, you can actually look good with a higher body fat percentage. Some girls are actually into that, as long as you have a lot of muscle. That's the main thing, is that under that fat, you do need to have a lot of muscle. That's kind of a non-negotiable. If you want to be the shredded guy, be the shredded guy. If you want to be sort of in the middle, then be in the middle. It's all about... It's when you align preference with genetic strengths and a female archetype that you can truly become a girl's 10 out of 10, right? And this especially applies if you are interested in long-term relationships, right? For example, to my girlfriend, I am a 10 out of 10. I'm not saying that as some sort of cope. I've shown her multiple different male models, you know, like a complete autist. And every single time her reaction was like, there was no micro expression of deception or anything. She just said no. Like, none of those guys are more attractive than me, right? According to her. It's also because we're emotionally bonded and everything, but she just cannot find any other guy to be more attractive than me, because I am fitting her specific style. I am fitting her specific archetype, right? And I'll end on this. If you max out towards your archetype as much as possible, you become much more unique as a result. It's very, very difficult to be a cookie cutter Chad. That requires insanely good genetics to be able to have a bland, clean look that just appeals to the vast majority. You need to have the perfect combination of masculine features and feminine features and harmony and hair type and like height, physique, muscle insertions, all of these different things in order to have the broadest appeal. So the thing about niching down is that you become a much rarer individual. Like, there aren't many guys that look this good in that particular type of flavor. You know what I mean? You are essentially differentiating yourself from vanilla ice cream by giving them a flavor that is not easily replicated. Unless you're like 8 out of 10 plus, I strongly suggest that you look into this. I can't give you concrete advice. This is going to depend on who you are. This is going to depend on your preferences, the type of girl you want to attract, strengths, weaknesses, genetics, a bunch of different things. But just think about it. Just ponder on everything that you've heard me say, and yeah, just try to figure out in which way you want to reinvent your identity, and that can potentially make a huge difference. Keep ascending.